I think the complete opposite.
I think they're getting buried alive.
How long,
I'd
Jim?
rather die
Okay,
like it's
so
so
2 minutes?
like instant,
About 2.5.
like run into
I
like,
learned that this
Yeah.
is 30
Stylish.
seconds.
like die in a submarine.
Yes,
and
you gotta
explodes.
give
The
it time.
hook.
Two.
I'd rather be
It
like.
throws
That's
me
what
off
you got
when
that
people,
from.
it throws
But
me
I thought
off
it
when
just
people
makes
go
you laugh
like
when they
this.
said that.
What?
The hook.
Rather
I like
grab
the
a
hook.
fence in Jurassic
The
Park.
water,
and
the-
It shocked me
They
to
did
death.
shock you.
The music is a nice touch to it. It's like,
Jake,
Not gonna lie, I played
Jacob
Jurassic
always
Park
teases
with
me
the
about that. I
shield
love
drive
to
and that
put
amount
music
of
behind things.
dead.
Henry's
not blown
crickets are
off. and like,
silent, but I
let's
put
do
music
it again. No,
Lose
it's
it.
dead.
I think it sounds better when you have music. Honestly.
I don't know if it does or not.
I like it. I mean,
Your mother always makes fun
Oh,
of me.
my last
Always
one,
use
I
your
don't,
Blog
you'll have
Talk
to tell me if
Radio
you
voice, because
noticed.
I always tease her about using her teacher voice.
yeah,
That's my
you-
Blog Talk Radio voice.
Locked up, right?
You'll have to tell me if you heard it when I tell him, Jacob, during my last one, I was started,
And what's so
And
funny
probably
is the
like a
kids are
minute or
downstairs
two
in the
in.
studio.
I
And she
feel
does this
something from that I
powerful
ate
voice.
earlier.
Oh,
On its way
It's
back.
like audacity through
No,
the-
not like I'm about to throw up,
Yeah,
but like it was there, like somewhere in my mouth, and then it just started
They-
going
they-
through.
they-
And like I had to like,
special for you.
I made like a weird
I
sound, like
moved
the
tonight.
jelly
I
noise.
can't
basically.
believe this. You're going to probably weep for
And
3
then I
weeks.
chuckled to
You're-
myself.
I did notice that.
I was
I
like-
spit lots at each other.
Because
It's not right.
again, there was just that little piece, and it was like, oh god, I'm gonna die.
How long do you think it'll be
Science.
before falling, if you
I
have
don't
it?
know.
That peanut butter and jelly came down to help me.
Finals
I
are.
love
She's
it.
good.
Oh my
She's
gosh.
Is it good, Jimbo?
More
Might
peanut
be.
butter or more jelly?
It's too sad.
I think we're coming
Yeah,
back.
it's almost, yeah.
Give me the
Might
hook in
catch
30
us and
seconds.
We might not even be able to be on the show. I don't know.
I'll take your guys' spot, both of you, at the same time.
These don't fit my head right. It's so tiny.
Oh,
I'll go like this.
turn all of you guys' mics up.
There we go.
Everything fits my ears because.
Jake, be careful with your voice, don't blow it out.
There's a lot of-
1 minute.
Okay, so there's a little bit more.
This was the piece she did today, right?
Was it,
Do most people carry a whole piece through an entire year?
one or two.
Usually people do.
Do you guys have a second piece in your pocket or anything?
Nope.
No.
it's better to make one
You
piece.
would-
put all
you
our
would
chips
start
down
it-
on one?
Well, if it wasn't working for them,
Yeah.
then they would probably
Then
change
they would
it.
change.
But it works.
There's the hook, 30 seconds.
I enjoy.
Cortland Seaton.
Yeah.
My feet.
Okay, how'd you end up in here again?
I don't remember. It's all a blur.
What is that?
They
It's
put
like-
a black bag
Oh,
over
that
my
was-
head.
Did you
like
That's
drink
the
a
last name of
Shirley
the
Temple
Seaton
Legend,
person that
and
woke
then
her
just ended up in
into
here?
That's Seaton.
We
That's-
should
that's
totally
why
get
I
that guy to
like
come in here. I'm gonna find that
it.
bug. It's gonna be
What's
double weight.
Hey, we're back.
That's unbelievable.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's Angel. Angel's been on the show before, and
That's awesome.
we
This mic is nice. Wow.
we move from that. Now that's drama. Is that correct?
That's drama, and you're listening to that, Angel has a real talent for doing the quiet,
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
natural ability that she has with those words and those pauses that just captivate you.
Yeah, and like we were saying off air, they're recording that down in the studio, and I'm listening to it, and I'm just my guts are wrenched, and I'm thinking, oh man, this is so sad. Oh man, and they hit the end of the record, and now they're throwing spitballs at each other. How do you turn that up? We want to welcome
Just
the
two couple guys.
the stars of the show.
We just
Salo
walked in off the street.
Salo and Hutch, you are back.
We're
Wow,
back.
baby.
Yes.
It's been like an hour since the show started.
That's true.
Our bad.
You're back. You just finished round 3.
Yes, we did.
Tell us a little bit about how the day has gone.
I think we've done very well.
It was really
I'm
nice.
pleased with our
Solid
performance.
performance.
And I asked you this off air, and I told you I'm going to ask you this. Do you think you made finals?
Yes. There's the answer.
Ooh.
Boom.
I'm gonna reiterate what I said out there. I don't like assuming that I went to finals. It seems sort of.
And I don't care.
You know, cocky. But I would say, I believe in us that we made it to finals.
If you didn't, will you be sad?
No.
Not sad, just like, I will wonder what happened. Because I thought we did pretty well.
Okay, let me put it this way. If you don't, will you be angry?
Not angry.
No. It,
Place an emotion with it then.
Quizzical.
Okay, there you go, quizzical.
That actually fit. I just
Will
wanted
you
to make
hunt
random
down the judges
100%.
and say,
Don't look at
what,
me.
what is it that happened? What went wrong?
I never blame judges. I really don't, because it's all subjective.
You blame yourself? You say, you know what, we messed up?
Sometimes it's just like, there were really good teams, and I liked other teams better than us too.
Yeah.
Like,
Why are we even doing this?
well, what the
gonna-
heck? You guys are good.
Yeah, rephrase real quick, something I said on a previous show about
Yeah.
forensics, that
Mhm.
doing forensics is like eating chocolate cake. And if you make it to finals, it's like biting into that chocolate cake and finding there's money inside.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
So it's good
That's
either
really
way.
true.
But you gotta go back, cause you said you weren't gonna go to finals, that you would be content.
Content.
Explain that.
I would be like, dude, I just ate some chocolate cake.
That's good stuff. There wasn't money inside. That's still okay.
But good.
That's good. So I was content with the cake.
We made people laugh today. That's what I like.
It'd be awesome if there was some money in it. But if there isn't any money in it,
Ain't no big thing.
ain't no big thing. So we have a guest in here.
We do.
Obviously.
Oh,
And we
Just met him a
are
couple minutes ago.
so excited to have Cortland Seaton. Is that correct, Cortland?
Yes, it is.
Cortland Seaton, you are from Widefield.
Yeah.
Up in Colorado Springs. Where at in Colorado Springs? Is it north side? I don't know where Widefield is.
It's like south, hold on, which way are the mountains again?
West.
East? Yeah, okay, so it's southeast.
Okay.
So-
How big is Widefield?
It's pretty small, we're like the suburbs.
Okay, of Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
Okay. And have you ever been to this tournament before?
Yes, actually last year this was my first tournament ever as competing for the forensic.
Well, 2 years ago, this was our first tournament.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's cool.
This year.
Now, Cortland, you are in humor.
Yes.
And how did you get into that? I mean, and I don't even know that. I mean, sometimes I talk with Mr. Trainer, who is the coach of the Lana team, or sometimes with Salo and Hutch, and say, how do you determine which event I'm going to be in? Do you say, you know what, that Cortland, she's pretty funny, put her in humor? I mean, how do you get to that point?
Well, what happened was, like, I did a one-man skit my freshman year all by myself to Kill a Mockingbird. And my teacher was like, you know, there's this thing called forensics, I think you should do it. I was like, okay. And then I looked at the drama pieces and was like, okay, I'm not serious enough to do this. So I have to do
I can't sit
something.
through an hour of this.
Exactly, like, I'm a very sensitive person, so I'd be like, oh my god, I can't handle this before I would even go to perform, so that would be just terrible.
So what grade are you in?
I'm a junior.
Is this your third year of forensics? Is this your
No,
second?
this is my second year.
Second year of forensics. Do you enjoy it?
Oh, I love it.
How did you find your piece?
How did I, oh, well, I was looking around just on forensicsfanatics.com and I was like,
It's the best website ever.
exactly, you can find everything there.
This is the best.
And then I was like,
Forensicsfanatics.com.
and I found this piece and I was like, and I just fell in love with it. It was just awesome, so.
What goes into, and everybody pipe in on this, what goes into the selection of a piece? How do you determine, oh, that was, because I would read them all and say, you know what, they're all hilarious. Or you would read them all and say, whoa, those are crazy, sad,
It's
those are all
funny
good.
because me and Jeremy had Trainer gave us a duo piece at the beginning of the year, and we read through it, and we just didn't. It just wasn't us. But the one that we're doing now feels like us.
Oh man.
Like you have that personal connection with your piece.
Yes.
Yes,
Our current
it
piece
didn't
is
speak
just
to us. It
a-
really didn't.
A large cast of wackos.
Oh yeah, and it's great.
Yes.
I've always wondered
It's
what that
goofy.
means. Cortland, how do you find a piece? Is it the fact of other people on your forensics team say, you know what, I heard a piece or I've seen a piece, I think you would be good at it? Is this something that you simply say, I'm gonna Google this thing, man, I'm gonna nail this thing down? How do you do that?
Well, I just see if the characters are relatable to me. Like, if I know I can portray a character well enough to bring it out as the author of the skit wanted me to, then I know that I can do that piece and do it well. So that's
And
how-
see, to me, that's interesting, Kelly Jo. We were talking about that earlier, is that whole idea of even being able to do that. To look at a piece and say, I have to interpret what I think the author was saying.
Yes.
What this character, or how this author was building this character. I'm thinking to myself, man, when I was a junior in high school, I was concentrating on other things. I don't even know if I had the skills to do that.
I mean, I think
I
that's-
couldn't hit, but I could catch a ground ball.
Speaking to
But, you
yourself,
know-
you have to find out what's humorous to you, what makes you laugh, and you have to fill that first, especially when you're looking for a humorous piece.
Because the piece we had didn't make us laugh.
It has
so
to
we,
hit
like,
your comedic timing.
Are there any pieces that you've seen or you've spoken to other people that says, you know what, this is funny to me, nobody else seems to think that it's funny, but it's funny to me, and I'm gonna stay with this piece simply because it's me, and if no one else laughs and I just keep getting fours, I don't care because I'm gonna be true to the piece.
I want to meet that person.
I did that last year.
Did
There
you do
you
that
go.
last
I
year,
did.
Courtland?
Yeah, I
Isaiah's
did.
raising his hand right now.
I did a piece, it was called Being Crazy, and I had maybe like one funny thing in there, but it
I
got,
just loved it.
yeah, I just loved the piece, so that's why I did it.
Well, Courtland, you have a humor piece, but before you do it, I have to ask this because I've heard so many stories.
You should have your own show. You're well spoken.
Yes.
Donkashun.
Yeah.
All we need is your phone number, and we can call you every Saturday night at 6 p.m. and you can be part of the Salo and Hutch show. I'm curious because I've heard stories from Salo and Hutch, and I've heard stories from Mr. Trainer and Kelly Jo. Maybe you have a story of your own. How do you end up in forensics? Was it, you know what, I sought forensics out. I found out about forensics and I said, this is me. Was it that? Was it, you know what, my friend was I had a friend in forensics and I accidentally, or I needed to ride home and so I had to stay after and I saw this and I got dragged. Or was it, as the case is with
For us, forensics
Trainer
comes and
told
finds
me,
you.
yeah, did forensics find you and say,
Yeah.
Trainer said, guess what, you're in
You're in
forensics,
forensics
here's your piece.
In La Junta, trainer pays your entry fee, and then he tells you you're gonna be in forensics.
Yeah.
How did it happen for you, Courtland?
Well, after marching band ended, I had no life, so I had to find something to
That's
do
a good
after
reason.
school.
It's an awesome reason.
What happened? Oh, I see. Marching band is when football season is that?
Yeah.
Okay. It sounded like Widefield did away with it. It's like after Widefield killed marching band.
After,
So
after the
That's
great
the name of
crash.
the humor.
Yeah.
Well,
That's the-
Whitefield killed marching band.
Widefield. Why I'm in forensics. That would be a good humor
You
piece.
need to write that. It's good.
That's it. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna turn everybody else's mics down. We're gonna leave Cortland's on. Cortland, I don't know how your piece, whether it goes up or down or whatever, but I would caution you that the closer you get to the mic, and if you really go out, it's probably gonna shriek a little bit.
okay.
But you know what? We don't care because it's your piece. Yeah, that's exactly right. So Cortland Seaton from Widefield. What's the name of your piece?
13 Ways to Screw Up Your College Interview by Amy
That's
Levin.
great. It's so great.
There are only 13 ways.
Yes, but I'm going to do 6 today.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and bring it down, and Cortland, whenever you are ready, go ahead and start.
Okay. I don't know what to do with this thing.
Put it wherever you want.
Okay, I think that's fine. Alright. So your grades, recommendations, all look pretty good. Thank you. Is there something you can tell me about yourself? Maybe something that's not on the page? Yeah, let's see. I played a number of sports, volleyball, basketball, soccer. I volunteer at a soup kitchen. I'm a practicing vampire, and I teach sailing at a sleepaway camp. Is that what you're looking for? Yes, definitely. I'm sorry. Can you elaborate on the soup kitchen? I started because of my parents. They're very big in community service. No, I'm sorry. It sounded like you said you were a practicing vampire. Oh, yes. Pretty much my whole life. Okay. Should I do my intro? I have no idea.
Sure, whatever you want to do.
Okay.
However you want to do it.
Let's just skip that.
Okay.
So you think you're a vampire? No. No. That would be, no. Okay, I guess I'm a practicing vampire. It's completely different. Is this like a club or role-playing game? No, it's much more serious than that. Basically, I live my life in the preparation for the one day I'll turn into a vampire. Turn into? Right. So I sleep in a coffin, eat lots of bloody meats, chew with my fangs, and avoid lots of garlic. All in hopes, if I'm diligent enough, I will become a vampire. Elizabeth, you're not going to turn into a vampire. There's no such thing as vampires. Oh my Dracula. Wow. That may be, The most offensive thing I've ever heard. Honestly, I expected more out of this university. I'm going to leave now. Next! Harold, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Did you have trouble finding the Barrow building?
That's a personal matter, and I'd rather not answer it.
Okay, well, have you thought about a major yet?
That is my mother we're talking about here!
Oh, you didn't ask to see my mother in her two-piece bathing suit, did you? No, I didn't.
Allow me to explain. I suffer from a rare disorder known as chronic question mixedness. It's a neurological condition which renders a person incapable of hearing a question correctly.
And by correctly, you mean
Every time you ask a question, I hear a completely different one.
I see. How come I've never heard of quantiquest mixidus before?
Eleanor Roosevelt, probably.
Well, Harold, I don't know what I can do for you. A college interview is primarily to ask me questions.
So if a deaf person came in here, you just refuse to do the interview?
No. I make sure that a translator fluent in sign language is able to aid in the interview.
Well, I'm sorry that the AMA hasn't recognized CQM as a legitimate medical condition, but I try to live my life in a normal and healthy way. I appreciate it. You treat me the same as any other prospective students.
I suppose you're right. Well, shall we continue with the interview?
It's in Argentina, isn't it?
Yes, sure is. So, what extracurricular activities are you interested in?
Melissa Block, 7th grade. We both had braces. It was kind of awkward.
Is it me, or is this completely pointless?
I don't know much about celebrating, man. Sorry.
Well, that went well. Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you.
Do you need directions to get back on the I-40?
Cookie Monster. I guess I just like Googling eyes. Is that weird?
A little. Yeah. Next! Thank you for coming in on such a short notice. Please, it was no trouble at all. So tell me about yourself. What subjects do you like in school? Do you have any hobbies? Stuff like that.
Hobbies? I have a few, I suppose. I used to be really into swimming, but I haven't, not since that day!
Are you okay? We don't need to. No!
I want to. I need to talk about it. It was a blistering summer day. Swimming was my life, and life doesn't stop. I got to the pool early, put on my swimsuit, and began my morning stretches. That's when I saw him. Fiery red hair, freckles sprinkled across his pale white skin. He was teetering on the edge of the pool. Before I could think to warn him, he tumbled into the watery abyss. His body thrashed about violently, his eyes closed shut from the sting of the chlorine. I jumped in and tried to swim as fast as I could to save him, but I was too late. Oh!
That was very brave of you to share this with me. Witnessing a death like that.
He didn't die.
He didn't?
No, the lifeguard pulled him out of the water.
Well, even witnessing a near-death experience like that of such a young child,
He was only in the water for a few seconds when the lifeguard pulled him out.
he was.
Yes.
But I thought you said it was too late.
It was too late for me! I couldn't save him because I was too late.
I know this is not my place, but I recommend some therapy.
Therapy? I went to a therapist once. It was a crisp autumn day and I've been feeling optimistic.
Next!
And let us rip out.
Okay, well, may I remind you that this is a college interview. And now, the orchestra opening to Sweeney Todd. Next! Hi, you must be Kelly. Yes. Hi. Please, take a seat. Sir. You know what? We never received your college essay. How about that? Do you maybe have a copy of it with you? Yes. I got it right ha in my bag. Thank you. I should tell you that... I'm sorry. This is a picture of a girl in a pink dress saying, "Oh boy." Oh boy. Okay, well, let's look at your transcript, shall we? You have no GPA? That's right. And you've never taken the ACT? How about that? Kelly, I'm not even sure how you got to this point. You can't go to college without a GPA. Perhaps you'd like to see my letter of recommendation? No, Kelly, no college let alone ours. This is a picture of a cat saying meow. Now, me. Ow. Yes. Please, you're freaking me out. Next. Hi, I'm Emily, and Emily, just take a seat. Wow, valedictorian of your class? They decided that already? Yeah, I was really surprised to find out this early. I mean, there's a lot of bright students at that school, and I guess my GPA was just too high for anybody to catch up with me. I'm really amazed at all the after-school programs you've amassed. First year cellist, member of the Thespians, president of student council, and treasurer for something called Relief Club. Yeah, it was a public outreach formed by me and 3 friends. We do shelter homes, food drives, and build houses. Wow, I should tell you that. What does the bird say? Ding, 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 ding. I'm sorry, it's my mother, and I told her not to call unless it was really urgent. It's okay, go ahead. Hello? Yes, everything's going fine. Oh my god. Oh my god! They never give a full ride, let alone... Oh my god, I'm an Ivy Leaguer! Ah! I'm sorry, I have to go. Come back, Emily. Not a single one. I am so fired. This one does magic.
Oh, that's fantastic. All right, let's get these back
I had to compete,
Oh, man,
I had to
that's
compete
funny.
against that.
up. Okay, I have a question. And Courtney, I want to thank you so much for
Thank you so much.
coming in and sharing your piece, but I do have a question for you specifically in humor. I had the opportunity to judge a round of humor today. I am curious, how do you determine what the voice sounds like?
That is a good question. One that I'm not sure how to answer. Well, I don't know. I just kind of play around with it, I guess, because I don't know.
Because that was one of the things, obviously, that I noticed in humor was the ability of all of you to be able to separate each one of those characters, and especially when it's going back and forth, to never let it bleed over into. It was amazing to me, and I got to thinking, I wonder how you decided what that was.
Well, for the first chick, since she was a practicing vampire, I thought, like, vampires are kind of dark. They're very, very pale, and that sounds like goth people. And so, let's go.
This is probably a dumb question because I'm not a forensics person. Are the voices the same every meet?
Yeah, every week. I
Okay,
do the same
so
voice.
you don't change them, or?
No.
You'll practice the one that sounds right.
You try
Okay.
to do everything exaggerated, like everything exaggerated.
Okay.
That's what me and Jay
Yeah.
try to.
Make everything sort of a notch above what like normal
What
is.
people would
Yeah.
do.
Yeah,
What
if,
an
So it-
actual person would
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, so it stands out more, so it's not like, oh.
because if you just are like, yeah, I'm a practicing vampire, yeah. It's like, what are you doing?
That's not,
Yeah,
that's
Got
not
it.
funny, right?
you gotta up the
Up the ante.
amplitude
Let's do
amplitude in the ante.
Of course, thank you so much for being on Salo and Hutch and sharing your piece.
Thank you.
Congratulations on being in forensics, and I would say
Yes.
congratulations on, and this is a personal thing, for all of you who have the courage to do this. Because I don't think there are a lot of people your age who would do that. Do what you do, and yeah. And so I just want to say kudos to you, to all of you who do that. It's fantastic.
Oh, Dankeschön.
Yeah.
Just
Yay!
fantastic. Everybody clap it for
I can't clap at myself. That's egotistical.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Cortland.
Oh,
Okay, so I guess the big question is then, obviously, when do we find out? When do we find out about this whole ending thing, and who made finals?
The trainer's supposed to be coming in, so if we're like, oh, gotta go, then that's what happened.
Okay, so
But he showed up. What's he?
He didn't
They
say
said they hadn't posted yet.
Okay.
I looked at him because
Trevor popped in
yeah,
And he said
a
they
couple
hadn't
minutes ago to tell us
gave
that
me a mini heart attack.
You should go
he
check
had not
it.
posted yet.
well, I guess my big question would be, would you forsake finals to maintain your presence here on Solomon?
You know what? I wouldn't, but that's only because I really like performing our piece.
That's true. And
What if it was allowed? You wouldn't have been in.
If I could do both at once,
Oh, I see.
We could have just split time.
that would be cray.
That
should
would be-
try.
That would be crazy.
Kelly Jo, I wanted to ask you, because you look at it from a different perspective, and I'll ask you guys, because obviously you look at it from a student or a competitor's perspective. Is it competitor, is it participant?
Competitor.
I think it would be a
I
competitor.
prefer
You-
the term gladiator.
Okay, gladiator.
Forensics, speech gladiator.
Is it
Vocal
more,
knot?
is it more common or less common to see an individual just be really devastated if they didn't make finals? Do you see kids like, oh man, this down on the floor, just melting, I didn't make it, what happened?
You do when the stakes start to get high at state speech tournaments and at national calls and national tournaments.
And
Kids have to work really hard to get to that level,
I
and,
put a lot into it and I missed it.
yeah.
I missed it. So, could you ever see yourself like that, Jeremy?
No.
Why not?
Also, Jacob is not here at the moment. He went to go get another competitor for us to interview.
Fantastic.
A friend of ours named Luke.
Okay.
Hopefully he's not in around. I think, I'm trying to remember if Jake and I went to state calls our freshman year. I think we did.
Okay.
And we didn't make state. And I was like, that was the most disappointed that I've ever been about not, getting the extra recognition of
Right.
the cream of the crop. Because it was like, it meant a lot more,
Right.
But last year we did actually go to state, and I was like, ooh, I was ridiculously happy.
I'm gonna
If
put
we
you on the
hadn't,
spot.
I don't think I would've.
I'm gonna put you on the spot and do a little psychotherapy.
Oh,
on
no.
you, because I heard a humor piece today about that. The 3-step program.
Yes.
You know that, Isaiah, you were in that, you were up against that. Was that the first time, as a freshman, was that the first time in your life that you hadn't succeeded?
For real? The first time? No.
So you failed a lot?
All the time.
Is that true?
All the time.
That's not true.
I don't know if fail is the right word. I think that, I don't even think it's not succeeding.
What is it then?
You're talking about all of Jeremy's failures?
Yes. Time I peed myself in the kindergarten.
Sorry, I went
and now we're moving on.
I went to go get somebody who was talking about how it was actually really cool. They said they had heard about Salo and Hutch at a forensics meet in Denver from some kid who went to Denver, and so that's really
Nice.
cool.
Was he
I was
around or
I
something?
think he made it to humor finals, which is
Ah.
going on right now.
Sweet.
So
Oh, they don't, I thought they did all of the things at one time, don't they?
no, they're staggering them a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Just a wee bit, it seems.
Yes.
Okay. So yes, we were talking about Jeremy's failures. And I think that it's interesting that, I guess my question is, do you see that as a success and failure? Because you had said, Jeremy, you're not even sure what exactly you call that. The idea of we didn't make finals, we didn't make state, we might not make nationals. How much do you put into it before it becomes, man, I didn't get what I wanted?
It's tough. It depends on how much you put into it, like, and
Okay,
how much you're
Let me
willing
put
to-
Salo and
to
Hutch on
lose
the
that.
line, let me put Salo and Hutch on, right out there, and let me ask both of you, how much do you put into it?
Put in quite a bit.
Bunch.
Put in quite a bit
Everything.
into this thing.
And then I would venture to say that if they make it to state, and they make it to semis,
Ugh.
and they make it to finals,
Oh.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness.
next year, if they did that same thing and did not achieve that same,
Could you?
that's when it really is like,
Yes.
Because I've tasted the chocolate cake and I got an idea
And
that
it's just
perhaps there was
dangling.
money,
If there
yeah,
was like a 5 in there.
yeah, but I
Maybe
really,
there's gonna be
yeah,
20 next time.
yeah.
Since last year we went to state,
that's when, cause you
yes.
see where you wanna be
Yeah,
and what level.
I'd certainly love to go to state again this
Because
year.
it was a blast.
And I mean, we won't really know how the moment will hit us if we don't make it to state.
Yeah.
But my initial, like,
Tears.
Nostradamus thing
Tears.
is that I think I'll be fine.
Because at some point in time, it gets past that point of, we were just glad to be there.
Right.
Yeah.
And now we're
It's
not
like,
just
we're
glad
not
to be
just
here.
glad.
It
Right, we wanna do-
Yeah.
it changes, when you start achieving at that level, you are the competition.
Mhm. Yeah, I
So
can
you are
see that,
setting the
yeah.
mark and the bar then, and you know you are, and so you're looking a little bit deeper for those pieces.
Mhm.
Next year, when they start looking for one, if they've had some success, they want another winning piece. And the stakes are just a little higher, because now they're returning and they've got
Yeah.
a level they have to.
Everybody goes, ah, whenever you walk into the room,
Exactly.
that's great.
So it's all about notoriety, you just want to be
Not all.
loved, okay?
Actually, mostly zero about
Yeah.
that.
I don't know, is it safe to say we're halfway through this season?
I would
I
say
don't know.
halfway.
So we've been at it for just about 2.5 seasons, and you know, we've been pretty level-headed so far, and I wanna maintain that, of just enjoying.
Well, and I think you can be
having
level-headed
competition,
about
you
it, but I think you can want to do well and want to succeed. So I don't think it's about getting a big head.
No.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, we're not leaving. I'm just saying, we got a bunch, oh wait. Did we make it?
They are posting duo finals.
Right now, okay.
There's.
Posting duo finals right now.
So you're gonna go check on that?
And we have, I was about to actually say, there's a ton of people.
There's a lot of friends and people.
Back
around,
here.
so
Okay, so
Get
let's
it.
go ahead and move you guys out.
We wish us the best of luck.
We may be back soon.
If you don't return, we'll.
Yeah.
If we come back really quick,
This would be a great thing.
That's announced.
At least send, hey, Jacob, at least send somebody back and let us know,
No, go with them. I'll come back.
Okay.
a go or a no-go.
Okay.
Okay.
So, okay,
Mr. Trainer, is it a thumbs
is it a
up?
go or?
Yeah, they made it.
It's a thumbs up.
Hey, they made it, okay, all right, fantastic. One of, we're.
It's just fun to
One
make
thing, try not to hit your table, try not to hit your table. Here's what I wanna do, I wanna start over with Isaiah, because Isaiah, you've been on the show before. Tell us who you are, what the heck you're doing here, and, we'll move down the line.
I'm Isaiah Espinoza. I'm here because I didn't have wrestling today, which is the first time ever
Was the third caller, I mean, what?
the
Okay,
first time ever there's been forensics, and I haven't had wrestling,
fantastic,
which is why I did this today.
that's fantastic. And what was your piece?
Episode 26 by Howard Corder.
In what event?
Humor.
Humor, okay. Benjamin.
I'm Ben Micklejohn,
Uh-huh.
and I'm here in forensics because I missed last Friday's forensics because I didn't arrange all my finals, and I felt kind of bad even though I still didn't practice my piece. I feel kind of bad about that, but I'm here because I didn't want to make everyone angry at me pretty much. I enjoy forensics, I
You just didn't-
procrastinated.
Oh, I see. You just enjoy people being mad at you less, is that?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay,
Living on the edge.
Living on the edge, so. Go ahead.
I'm Megan
Yes.
Hickman, and I guess the reason I'm here is because
Don't guess, Megan. Tell me the reason. Don't guess. Don't tell me what it's like. Tell me what it is.
well, I started doing forensics last week. Actually, I had my first meet.
Fantastic, really?
Yeah, I had my first meet on Friday of last week, and
How'd it go?
It actually went pretty well. I got pretty high scores for my first performance, and I find that really.
So
I guess
I'll go
shocking.
back a little bit because I'm curious. How did you get involved in forensics?
Well, I was talking to Mr. Trainer, and I basically wanted to find a way to get over my stage fright because I have really bad stage fright, as Ms. Smith should know when it comes to giving presentations and stuff in her speech class.
See, there's
She did it.
there's the speech
She
class
did it.
again. Yeah.
So
Under her belt.
I don't know. I wanted to find a way to get away from sports a little bit and come
Mhm.
back into like artsy stuff because I did a lot of that back in middle school, but I kind of stopped when I got to high school because volleyball and track became more important. But now I'm doing forensics, so
So how is it going with that whole getting over the stage fright thing?
it's actually going pretty well. I'm not as shy talking to people now. Like I actually have a better way of talking to people and.
And isn't it easier after you've gone to your first tournament and you know what it's about? You know I'm going in that room and there are 6 other people in
Mhm.
that room and, oh, this is how it's gonna work, and here's the competition tonight, and that just kind of puts you at ease? Did you find?
Yeah, it definitely helps. Like my very first meet, my very first performance, I was sitting in the room and I was basically shaking because I was so scared.
Really?
Yeah, and then I just got up there and I looked at all these people that had went before me and I was like, okay, I can do this. It's not that big of a deal. So,
And you did it.
yeah.
What is your piece?
It is the Andrew Poems by Shelley Jones Wagner.
And so I'm assuming that's poetry? Is that right,
Yeah,
or is it,
yeah.
okay. And so, and I'm curious about that. Ben, I know that you're in humor.
I kind of jump around every
Okay,
single
but today, I know because
You saw my very mediocre performance.
I did not think it was mediocre. I did not. To be honest with you, and I was telling Kelly Jo this, I think being a first-time judge, I was just impressed with everybody. I was just impressed with I imagine that somebody could have come in and their pants fallen off, and I would have been like, you know what? You did that well.
That was amazing.
That was amazing. That was amazing. So, I've always been curious, because Henry does poetry. Humor, I get. It's a funny story, and you laugh. Duo, interp, I get all those types of things. Poetry has always, from what the limited knowledge that I have, is it simply, this is a poem, and I read it. Is it a dramatic presentation of a poem? You know, green eggs and ham type of thing?
For me, it's more about connecting with the people in the room and getting them to feel what the writer was feeling when they wrote that poem. It's more about wording it in the best way you possibly can, just to get them to understand how they were feeling and get those emotions flowing in people.
And that digs back earlier, what Kelly Jo and I were talking about was that idea of thinking, because my question would be, what do you do, how do you go about determining what the writer was feeling?
The way I see it, like, you use your own personal experiences to connect with the poem, and mine personally is really actually pretty sad. Like, it's about her son passing away, and he was very young when that happened, and I connected that with just family members that have passed away. Like, recently my grandma had passed away, so I kind of took emotion from that and put it into the piece and put that out there and read it as if it were more about me rather than the actual writer.
Are more poetry pieces kind of that dark, deep thing, or do you, could you come in and say, my piece is Oh, the Places You Go by Dr. Seuss?
You could, and a lot of them do. Yeah,
Do-
Dr.
do they?
Seuss is a good.
Just a quick
Really?
interjection.
Yeah, go ahead.
Last meet, I saw a very anti-American poetry piece, and I saw some very interesting poems. The last one I
Really?
went to, which was about 2 ago. And,
Yeah.
I did do poetry for a little while, and well, actually it was been the majority of my year because I started as drama, but I really loved it, and I almost got people to cry.
Is that the gold standard? Is the idea of getting somebody to, if I can get somebody to cry, then that's right. I mean, is that,
See, humor though can be, or poetry could be funny.
Okay.
Humorous as well. I think the cool thing about that is though that poem still has some deep meaning to it. I mean, even Dr. Seuss has
Sure.
some deep
Yeah.
meaning to it. And you just use the humorous avenue to get to that meaning.
I'm glad I did poetry. I've heard so much about poetry, and it is not anywhere near
Oh.
close to what I want to do.
Poetry is
Really?
fun though. I mean, you
I-
see so much stuff.
I'm sorry,
See,
I don't want to.
this comes from my
Maybe I've
my
heard only the
inability
bad parts.
to process forensics, I guess, but I can't team those two things together. Poetry is fun. And I think that goes into the whole thing that I was talking about, was there are a lot of things about forensics I don't get.
Poetry's too dark for me.
I don't get forensics
Honestly,
either.
I've seen a lot of funny poems.
Yeah?
Like, I don't know. Like I said, it's just something that you have to connect on, whether it be making you angry, like Holly Bender's poem could do, or making you sad, like mine or Henry's, or just making you flat out laugh, or getting you to believe in a different subject, or change your beliefs. That it
So-
could go either way.
So your job is to elicit an emotional response? I
Yeah.
mean, I'm going to make you feel, I'm going to make you think.
that's the way I see it.
And poetry has that other element of rhythm
Yes,
to it
yes.
that you can bring into it, and that beat that you can experiment
I
with.
could never get that beat in my poetry piece, My Darling Sarah. I've never been good with poetry, but every time I read it, it would roll in a certain way, and I would do it in dramatic inter. And you actually not lose points, but you'll get marked down if it sounds like a poem. So I tried so hard to eliminate that rhythm, but when it's written in such a way that that rhythm is just there. If you eliminate it, it sounds like you're speaking in foreign tongues. I mean, it doesn't make
Salo and
sense.
Hutch went out on a limb, I think it was last show or 2 shows ago, trying to explain the world in a haiku. And it's quite interesting. In its own Salo and Hutch kind of way. Yeah, kind of way. I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a break. Jimbo, let's take a break. When we come back from the break, Megan, I think you recorded a piece, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
And Jimbo, you have that on the board, don't you? When we come back from the commercial, let's go straight into Megan's piece. And when we come back, we'll see who else comes around. If nobody else, and you guys want to sit here, keep on doing this. We're going to talk about forensics, and I want to learn more about poetry because that has fascinated me. And so we're going to take a break, and then we're going to be hearing Megan's piece. Megan, turn your mic back on for a second because I want to ask you, what's the name of the piece?
It's the Andrew poems by Shelley Jones Wagner.
Is the one that you did today.
Yeah.
And so stay with us right here on Salo and Hutch, Blog Talk Radio.
Well, take my spot. I've been on the show before.
So interesting to me. It's just
Megan, is it Diekman?
Yeah.
incredible.
Thank you for saying that.
About
Go
how-
see if Dave Meyer will be fun to
Good.
talk to.
Whoever you think would be good, bring them on in.
Okay.
How long is that, Dad?
This one here is 3:05, and then we'll go into Megan's is 8:35.
So about 10 minutes?
11, 12, about 11:40.
I'm gonna take a bathroom break.
Okay,
If
you
I'm
got
not back,
11:40.
Isaiah, get behind mic 1 and keep her going.
Okay, we'll do
I'm just kidding, don't touch my mic.
that. Can I just get behind a different mic?
The jingle.
Sure, that's fine.
No, they
Nice.
Oh, okay.
I don't want that dying. See, I picked it up, I didn't know
Oh.
it was dying.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hey, I'll get hooked on these things.
Those
are good, aren't
Gosh,
they?
are
What are these?
good chips.
Chips, they're great.
Where do you come from?
In there, what's it, they were big, go in there and look and see what that bag is. Or just bring the bag back.
I went first to, Megan.
Yeah, Megan.
Oh, gee, that was fun listening to her.
Wrong room.
She
Oh,
had
you mean
so-
the first little girl?
Yeah, she had so,
Cortland?
yeah, Cortland.
Yeah.
She had so many different voices.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was the hardest. Well, this was my first and I didn't like that sound. This is my first and only time doing forensics, like I said. And I picked a piece where I play 5 different characters, and one of the hardest things was figuring out 5 different voices to use
Yeah.
that all fit the characters. And luckily, Jeremy and Jacob were able to help a lot with that. Like I have this doctor, and I couldn't figure out the right voice. I had a lot of different voices I was trying to give him. And then Jacob said, well, whenever the usual thing, because I give my villain like the stereotypical villain voice, so he was like, well, one of the people use stereotypes in this all the time, I guess. And one of the stereotypical like doctor nerd voices was talking like this, and like that.
Yeah.
And that became my doctor voice.
Well, it worked.
My
It
voices
did.
came about because I had like half an hour to prepare them, and I just said,
Then are you
God.
still gonna be on?
I'll stay. I mean, it's entertaining. I'm not a very good speaker, but you know,
Well, it's not that bad. I've been on this show.
I'm not good at interjecting and saying anything.
Neither am I. I don't talk much on the show.
What is your name?
Benjamin Mickelson.
Benjamin.
I've been on the show.
Yeah, I know who you are.
I've been on the show a handful of times.
I've heard of it, but I've never listened to it or been on it.
This isn't my hat. This is Jacob's hat.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned that at some point.
Yeah, their show's really good though. I'll be honest, I don't listen to it. The only time I listen to it is when I'm on it and I don't have the choice. There's some really funny stuff though.
I probably won't listen to it simply because I don't want to hear my voice.
It's weird hearing your own voice.
I'm not fond of my voice. My voice is really
My voice sounds stereotypical to me. Like,
My voice sounds like a
sounds
stereotypical nerd hippie.
My voice
Hi,
sounds
guys.
my voice sounds like the stereotypical. Like if you were on PSN or Xbox Live and you heard somebody talking,
I know a lot of hillbillies.
and you heard a teenage boy talking, it would be my voice.
If you heard, I don't know what you'd call mine. If you heard a nerd talking, you'd probably hear me. I'm not very.
No, your voice is not bad.
Oh, hi guys.
Hi guys,
Hi guys.
how are you today? I like chocolate milk.
I'm fine.
If they have me do mine, I think I'm gonna do an extended version. Like because my thing is called episode 26, and I figured that's because it was supposed to be like a play on like heroes and stuff. So like I think I'm gonna just do like if I perform it, I'm just gonna do like an extended version where I make it.
How are we doing?
Are we allowed to have those sodas?
About 7 minutes left.
About 7
No,
minutes? Okay.
lunch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those aren't your Benjamin. Actually, I don't know.
Are
Yeah,
we,
the
are we
soda's
allowed
for-
to have those? Just like this?
The knuckles?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're knuckle energy drinks.
Ooh.
They're one of our partners on Salo and Hutch.
You have
Actually, on the road less
partners
traveled.
for Salo and Hutch?
I don't know, you wouldn't know. Kelly Jo, you know Terry and Bob Grooms and Jimmy Grooms?
Ooh.
Jimmy Grooms owns Knuckle Energy.
Can I try
Yeah.
yours? Because I don't want to open one and then not drink it.
So,
I suppose. It's pretty good. It's not like Monster or Rockstar or anything.
I talked
It's
to
just
Joe,
overdose
he
of
said
sugar, though.
they may be getting around 6:30 area before award starts, and we want to make sure that we keep reminding people.
When you gonna start the camera in there?
Probably about 5-10 minutes before. So,
Just sit here in case.
This is Dave Montero.
Derek Hutchison, nice to meet you. Have a seat. And you are a coach, a judge, a coach. You are a coach from Centennial High School in Pueblo. Centennial, all right. Fantastic. Fantastic.
That's refreshing stuff.
So pop your headphones on. I have a lot of questions
It's better than
about
like
coaching
constant
forensics.
I'll just
Like,
We'll just sit in
what
that.
world would you do that?
sit in.
He'll pull you in when he needs you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Idiot are you?
Kind of like everything else.
Somebody had to do it.
A little bit about that.
Who do we have?
Pop it out.
Deep.
Dave Montero.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You were talking to me.
not my cup
Dave
of tea.
Montero
No
from
offense.
Centennial
Not gonna listen to what you're saying.
High School in Pueblo.
I
From Pueblo?
I'll listen to it.
Did you find out what the chips were?
On the border to
unless it's happy poetry.
Montero.
Actually, I don't know where it
Montero.
started.
The name Montero.
I don't want to listen to it if it's like new.
Dave Montero.
Whoa, I need to, what happened to this chair?
students.
Chair,
Oh, yeah, I didn't do that, Kelly Jo. That was my fault. Okay.
I think,
I did that.
Miss Smith, you can sit right now.
The janitor's trying to fix it.
So, is this one poem?
Yeah,
Is it a collection? It's just one poem?
it's just one phone.
If you guys need me, I'll be in the,
Okay. I think Jacob and Jeremy are in finals now.
yeah, I
That's actually.
Okay.
You got 5.
5 minutes? Okay.
If one of these two, if there's ever an open seat, just.
So how do you end up picking out a poem? I mean, there's a lot of poetry out there.
Well, Mr. Trainer picked out this one for me because
Yeah,
I
so I'm
joined
listening
very
to it.
last minute, so.
Okay.
Yeah. Mr. Trainer picked out mine
Yeah.
too. I didn't join last week.
Turns me up. Turn me up.
Prepared last minute.
This is the only one. No, this is not the only one I read up. I'm sorry.
Are there pieces that you look at and say, and suggest to students because they have proven to be successful?
There are secret stashes of cuttings.
Ah, I see.
And,
It's
that's
got
mine.
the false bottom in the
So
drawer
if
that
you
you
get this
put.
one, go prove yourself worthy of the secret stash.
That's what Mr.
So you have to work your way up to that.
I'm
You
not
just.
giving this just to anybody.
Ah, I see. This one isn't a confidence builder. This is,
This is one who's
Yeah.
ready to go to the next level.
ah.
And those
Do you
take
have to be
a-
invited?
Is it
The
true?
next-
Do you have-
Oh,
do you
Are
have-
you asked to join
Forensics?
forensics? Or
No.
can you say, I want to be a forensic?
When like there's an organizational meeting, come to room, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, and then you can say, I want to
I'm
be in
going to
this.
be asking you about those because I'm
And then
curious.
I would send,
How do you
Go,
determine
bring me
that?
friends.
And
bring kids
what
with
is
best
it about
recruits,
those
you know.
pieces
Really?
that makes
Most of
it
my friends are in forensics, so that wouldn't work with me anyway.
what makes it just
So
the
we're very
beginner's
select
piece
few that
different
wouldn't be
from
very good
the
at it. Well, I think it could get better.
top of your game type of
Kind of
piece?
Boston.
Mm.
I don't think it'd do very good. laugh.
that you look at and
every other
say,
word.
this piece is too good for you to butcher. I can't give you this piece because I cannot stand to see what you were going to do to it.
It's something
Saying
like
that
that,
in-
but I won't say that on the
They're
air.
hard, it takes, to find a good piece, you're reading all the time, and to cut really good pieces, it's really difficult sometimes. And you're looking at kids that have gone to national, and the next year you want them, so you're thinking about what would be a really good piece for this kid, and so you're looking for material all the time.
It's so interesting to me. Because I can imagine there are, well, obviously there are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of pieces out there that they may not be good, but that could be accessed and used.
Yes.
Right, okay.
And there's lots about forensics that's a new kind of place where you could go get material like
There's still a
that.
piece I really
They
want to
used to have that, coaches, that was a
Had
big
to do
part
it.
of it, you had to find
That was a-
all the material,
Really?
Back in
or the
day,
kids
you'd,
had to go search and find their own material, and that's rare when a kid does.
I guess the reason I kind of asked this question is because of the discussion that I had with Henry at my table. Henry seemed very eager, 2 minutes, thanks you, very eager to have his poetry used by forensics
That's why it's
participants.
published.
Are there people like that who write specifically for forensics?
I did it once.
Yeah.
I never finished the thing.
I want to do it because I have a good idea, but I'm not.
And Henry wants to
Buy
steal my
10-minute
piece.
scenes, and, there's lots of that kind of material out there. And
Is there
mushroom
money to be
cloud.
made in that, Dave?
Probably not much,
Okay,
but enough.
but enough?
Pre-cut pieces,
You run the risk of them being stale or overused, because everybody can get.
or trite, because you're trying to get good literature,
Mm-hmm.
so. Or good drama, if you prefer.
I think that's probably something that you get as a seasoned judge. I wouldn't be able to do that if this being my first time, to be able to look at it and say, that was a good piece. Not just a well-performed piece, but a good piece.
Yep, that's not what you would say about
1 minute?
My piece was a good piece, it's just,
My piece wasn't.
should I turn this on, or should I just leave it off?
Did you have any problem being in the studio recording this in front of Jacob and Jeremy and, you, Megan? Did you have any problem?
Not at all. It was easy for me.
You
Just
should be
'cause
already turned on. I'll just turn this up.
I don't know. I'm really comfortable around Jacob and Jeremy and them, just because they were like some of my first friends here when I moved here. So it's not that difficult for me.
See, I would listen to this and think, this isn't poetry at all. This doesn't sound like poetry to me. I am, oh, the places you'll go. That was Megan Diekman. And the name of it again, Megan?
The Andrew Poems by Shelley Jones Wagner.
Now, we talked about this a little bit before we went to break, before we did all this, and we talked about the idea of reading poetry and trying to understand and trying to get a grasp on what the author was feeling, trying to say, what emotion was trying to be evoked, whatever. My question for you is this. Having done that piece, I don't know how many times you read it over and over, I don't know that. Do you like the poem?
I actually do. I don't have it memorized completely yet, but I don't know. For some reason, it just speaks to me more than it would some other people, in my opinion.
And I think probably they ask you this all the time, whether it be a teacher, whether it be a forensics coach or whatever. Do you know what it means?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
all right. Because that's one of the things that you always talk about with poetry. I know Jacob comes home and say, okay, I've got to read this poetry, and that's what I ask him. Okay, after you read it, do you know what it means? Well, no, I read it, but okay, get in the game, buddy. Get your head in the game, type of thing. Outstanding piece. Thank you so much. We have another guest with us, Dave Montera,
Thank you so much.
and you are a coach at Centennial.
Centennial High School in Pueblo, Colorado.
how long have you coached forensics?
Oh, do we have to go into that?
Yes, you have to. Right out there for everyone to hear. Remember, this is worldwide,
Oh,
Dave.
thank
so-
you, World Wide Web people. I have been coaching forensics for 33 years.
No, you have not.
Oh, I know I look young, but that's why I've got a face for radio.
That's what we say about it all the time. Face the radio, man.
Yes, sir, 33 years.
Wow, that is fantastic. Okay, I'll turn it up a little bit. Or, there you
And
go.
you started at Rocky Ford.
I did, Rocky Ford High School. Those Mountaineers got me,
Yep.
got my feet wet.
Yep.
Oh,
Really?
I really loved it. I loved Rocky Ford High School.
What was it that got you into, or what was it that either encouraged you, dragged you into, tricked you into? Did you lose a bet? How did you become a forensics coach?
You have covered the gamut. But I think the whole idea was that, let's go to Rocky Ford and not further back than that, although my forensics experience goes a little bit further, not too much, was the fact that I started teaching in the middle of the year and I wanted to help the students outside of the classroom experience.
Mhm.
And so I started to travel with the forensic squad and did some judging for them. And I said, this is really fantastic for students. What better way for them to not only display their skills, but to enhance the educational process than through forensics and debate. And so
Sure.
that's when I fell in love.
Really? It's very interesting to me because we had talked about it, I talked about it with Kelly Jo and of course with Joe Trainer. And I think there are different things that you look at and either understand or don't understand, question. You say, okay, why did you want to be a football coach? And it's sometimes easier to grasp those things. But when you get into things like forensics, like those things that you don't really understand, and you know someone has to coach it. Somebody's got to coach it. And then you get those people who step forward and like you were saying, and it becomes a lifelong love. Where does that interest, love come from? Is it from the fact of seeing how kids are changed? Is it because you are changed by what the kids do? What keeps you there for 33 years? The love of the game?
Well, it was the paycheck, but in reality, it really is seeing those students grow. When you get
Sure.
a young freshman who doesn't have a lot of insight into literature or know about the rhetorical processes of public speaking, and then watch them grow over a 4-year period and stick with this, it really is a gratification as an educator. Not always do we see that, and with forensics we can see that growth.
So if a student were to come up to you, say, Mr. Montera, I'm curious about this forensics thing. I need you to answer this question. Why, not why am I good for forensics? Tell me why forensics is good for me. What would you say?
Well, the very first thing I do is start to point out some of the most famous people who have been involved in forensics. For example, Lyndon Baines Johnson.
Yes.
Involved in forensics. Shelley Long, a long-time actress on Cheers. And just all those people, because sometimes that glamour or star factor can affect them. But just the fact where you'll end up. I've got a couple of my students now who are patent attorneys out on the West Coast and doing very, very well for themselves. And so I can point to that and say, this student sat right in that chair where you're sitting not more than 10, maybe 15 years ago, and look at what this has done for their lives. And they'll tell you that, not me trying to convince you to do this event so that I can get all the glory here in whatever venue. It's that the students have found success in it, and therefore, why don't you give that a shot so you can enjoy that success in your future?
And does that work?
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
I don't want to be derogatory of this generation, but I've seen a change in students over the past few years in that sometimes they need a little bit more convincing because there are so many more distractions for them out there at this time.
Sure.
And so sometimes it does work, and especially those that are far-seeing, those that have goals in their lives, they'll see that this is going to be a benefit to them.
And I think it is and I'm not sure, as I look around and look at my son's friends and circle of friends and Salo and Hutch and what they have been done, I look around and I'm not sure whether this group of individuals are different than their peers, or if they have just chosen to be different. I don't know what it is that that draws a kid into this? Because I look at it from what we talked about, Kelly Jo, is it seems to be this deep-rooted either belief or rite of passage that public speaking is terrifying. And to go against that kind of self-preservation mode and step out, you know, Megan, you were talking about that idea of I wanted to try and get over my stage fright. Who does that as you're junior, right? Who
Yeah.
does that? I mean, come on, juniors, I don't want to get over my stage fright, I'm just going to be in my, to actively seek out a quote-unquote remedy for something that you've acknowledged in your life is absolutely dumbfounding to me, or against the grain maybe. And I'm saying that in a very positive way. I want you to hear that, that I see that in a very positive way. What happened to you? I mean, what happened to you?
Well, a lot of stuff has happened to me over the years, and I move and I